Your income is not determined by how hard you work. It is determined by who is in the room when opportunities are created, and whether you are connected to those rooms at all. This is the wealth code. Stay with me, because later in this video I am going to show you a specific technique that ultra-wealthy families use to infiltrate new social networks from scratch, and it has nothing to do with money, charm, or connections you were born with. In 2019, economists Raj Chetty and Nathaniel Hendren published what became one of the most cited studies in modern economics. They analyzed the actual friendship patterns of 72 million Americans across income levels. What they found stopped researchers cold. Children who grew up in neighborhoods with higher rates of what they called economic connectedness, meaning genuine friendships across income levels, earned 20% more as adults. Not a little more. 20%. That is the difference between a comfortable life and a financially stressed one. And the kicker. The effect was stronger than school quality. Stronger than neighborhood crime rates. Stronger than almost every other variable they measured. The single greatest predictor of your future income was who your parents happened to know. Here is what no other finance channel will say directly: the game was rigged before you were born, not by your intelligence, not by your work ethic, but by your parents' address book. Every piece of advice about budgeting, every motivational video about hustle, every course about investing, they are all downstream of one brutal upstream variable. The quality of your social network determines the quality of the opportunities that reach you. Full stop. Everything else is noise. Psychologist Mark Granovetter at Stanford published his landmark paper in 1973, The Strength of Weak Ties. His core finding was deeply counterintuitive. It is not your close friends, the people you call every week, who get you jobs and opportunities. It is your acquaintances. The people you know loosely. The ones you see twice a year. Why? Because your close friends largely know the same people you do. They move in the same circles. They have access to the same information. Your weak ties, your acquaintances, connect you to entirely different social clusters. Different industries. Different wealth levels. Different opportunities. But here is where psychology makes this worse. Our brains are wired against building weak ties across income levels. Psychologist Henri Tajfel's social identity theory, developed at the University of Bristol in the 1970s, showed that humans instinctively categorize themselves into in-groups and out-groups. We prefer people who reflect our existing identity back to us. So the poorer your immediate environment, the more your brain actively resists connecting with people who are wealthier. It is not laziness. It is neurology. Status quo bias, documented extensively by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, means we unconsciously avoid social situations where we might feel out of place. And those situations are precisely the ones that would change our financial trajectory. This is not an accident. The system is architected to keep social capital concentrated at the top. Let me be specific. Elite universities, Harvard, Oxford, the Ivy League, are not primarily selling education. They are selling network access. The average Harvard graduate starting network includes classmates who will become senators, hedge fund managers, and Fortune 500 CEOs. That network compounds for decades. And those institutions know it, which is why legacy admission systems still exist. They are mechanisms to keep the network closed. Professional licensing boards, exclusive clubs, alumni networks, private equity deal flow, all of these are formalized systems for controlling who gets access to high-value information and opportunity. They are not illegal. They are just invisible to people who were never inside them. McKinsey does not advertise its job openings broadly. Neither does Blackstone. Neither does any major private equity firm. 70% of jobs at director level and above are filled through personal referrals, according to LinkedIn's own research published in 2022. 70%. That is not networking being helpful. That is networking being the only game in town. Retention peak. But here is the part that will actually change how you see money. Most people think the goal is to network your way into wealthy circles. Go to the events. Shake the hands. Exchange the cards. That is exactly the wrong model, and it is why most people's attempts at building a wealthy network fail within 6 months. The ultra-wealthy do not network. They create gravity. There is a documented pattern among high-net-worth individuals first identified by sociologist Pierre Bourdieu. He called it social capital accumulation through field positioning. In plain language, wealthy people do not chase relationships. They position themselves where relationships are inevitably created. They join boards, not to network, but because boards are where decisions are made. They speak at conferences, not to sell, but because the green room is where the real conversations happen. They fund or volunteer for causes that attract other high-net-worth individuals, not out of altruism alone, but because shared mission creates trust faster than any handshake. They are not collecting contacts. They are engineering circumstances where the right people are naturally drawn into their orbit. And here is the devastating truth for everyone else: you cannot buy your way into that gravity. You have to create it. And it starts not with money, but with perceived value. The specific behaviors are not what most people expect. It is not about going to more events. It is about one cognitive pattern that wealthy networkers share, what researchers at the Wharton School call strategic generosity. Before entering any new social circle, wealthy individuals identify what value they can offer that circle before asking for anything. Not money. Value. Information, connections, a skill, a platform, an introduction. They lead with giving, and they do it specifically and memorably. Not a generic offer. A precise one. This triggers reciprocity, one of Robert Cialdini's 6 principles of influence, at a depth that casual networking never reaches. The second behavior is deliberate environment upgrading. Wealthy people do not wait to feel ready before entering higher-level rooms. They stretch, consistently, one level above their current network. Not 10 levels. 1. This keeps discomfort manageable while compounding upward social mobility over time. The third behavior is ruthless relationship auditing. Every 6 months, not once a year, high-net-worth individuals quietly assess which relationships are pulling their thinking upward and which are anchoring it. This is not cold or transactional. It is intentional. And most people never do it because nobody ever told them they were allowed to. 1. Map your network by income tier right now. Take your 20 closest contacts, people you actually speak with regularly. Estimate their household income. If most of them are in the same income bracket as you, that is not a support system. That is a ceiling. You need to know this before you can change it. Awareness is not the finish line, but it is the starting gun. 2. Find one recurring room that is one level above you, and get into it consistently. Not a one-time event. A recurring one. A professional association, an industry conference that meets quarterly, a mastermind group, a board of a non-profit in a field adjacent to wealth. Recurring contact is what moves acquaintances into weak ties, and weak ties are where opportunity lives. 3. Develop a specific, articulable value proposition for new networks. Before you walk into any high-value room, answer this question: what can I give this person that they cannot easily get elsewhere? It does not have to be money or status. It can be expertise, access to a community, research, a skill. Specificity is what makes you memorable. Generic goodwill is forgotten by Tuesday. 4. Use the proximity investment strategy. Take a percentage of your discretionary income, even if it is small, and redirect it specifically to access. This means conference tickets, professional memberships, relevant courses where wealthy peers gather. Most people spend money on things. Wealthy people spend money on rooms. The return on a room full of the right people compounds in ways that no asset class can match. You will never outwork a bad network, because the opportunities that change your life will never reach you if the people carrying them do not know your name. Everything we covered today points to one shift in how you see your financial future. It is not just about what you know or what you own. It is about who is in your orbit, and whether you built that orbit with intention or inherited it by accident. Most people inherit it. The ones who build it deliberately end up in a completely different financial reality within a decade. If this shifted something for you, subscribe, because tomorrow we go even deeper. Next, watch our video on the hidden financial behaviors of first-generation millionaires, the specific decisions they made in years 1 through 3 that separated them from everyone who stayed stuck. This is the Wealth Code.